Today I want to share with you this cute little album that I'm going to call a fold-over album because it folds over here. We're going from the horizontal side. It almost reminds me of a little checkbook. In the days when we would carry our checks, use our checks, we don't do that as often, but that's about what this reminds me of. It is 3.5 inches tall by 6 inches across here with a 1/4 inch spine. And so I want to share this with you. This is my sample that I made, and I actually made a little mistake when I was making it. And so there's a couple of things we're going to correct when we make our full one, but I'm going to point that out to you here as I show you when we open this up. And that's the first thing here. The waterfall that we have that runs across. I love a waterfall. This is what I would call a manual waterfall because there's no pulley or anything. It's just a flip waterfall, and it's a place where you can add pictures. You could add some journaling over here with some cards, and that's one thing that we're going to do. So we have each of these pages, and then we have a little pocket that I've included just some little tags and things, but you can put anything in that pocket, more pictures, something like that. The mistake that I did make here is normally I would put a tie or some kind of closure here. And so we're going to make sure to do that. I put a reminder for myself. And the only reason is because how it's kind of flaps open. But it is so pretty with these papers. And just to let you know, for this sample, I used this paper called Yuletide Cheer. It is from Hobby Lobby, and it's 6x6. That's another thing. We're using 6x6 papers today. You don't have to, but that's what I used. Along the bottom here, we have a full-length pocket that I have just added another little journaling card with this beautiful paper, and then just a little flip open card that you could add some more journaling. Again, you could add pictures. You could put whatever you would like on the back of these. Add more pictures down here. It closes up, and then just the back here with these beautiful pink papers and the little ephemera that I've added here on the side. I don't know, as I look more, I really like it. I don't know if it needs maybe a message over here. I'll be looking for some of the things as I get more of my Christmas stuff out. But this is our sample that we've got, and we're going to make it today. I've got my papers ready. Let's jump in and get started. For the project that we're going to put together today, I'm using another Hobby Lobby set called Christmas Basics, $4.99. The reason I love these at Hobby Lobby, Christmas is 50% off. So we're getting this 6x6 inch pad. We're still going to have a lot of leftovers in here, and we're getting it for $2.50. So I love that. I've cut out the pages, and let me get you started on where we need to go. I'm going to include all the measurements here in our tutorial, and let's get into it. So for the colors that I've chosen to go with that Christmas basic set, I'm using a red, and I'm also going to be using a green. Now, most of the time, as with the sample, I will use a black. And as I was looking for my reds, I remembered one of the main reasons I like to use black is because most shades of black are just black, right? When we have our cardstock and everything, there's different shades of red that you can have, different shades of green. So I was really trying to make sure that that matched up. Sometimes it's easier to just go with the black and then add the additional accent color. Here I chose the pink. So you can choose, depending on your paper, what you want. We're gonna start off first with a red, just a solid sheet of cardstock. I've chosen the red, like I said. This one is 7 1/4 by, let's see, we're 7 1/4 by 6 inches across here. Then I've done already the scoring. I've scored 3.5 inches from one side, and to get this 1/4 of an inch spine, you could add that 1/4 of an inch, which is going to make it the next to 3 3/4, but I just flip it to the other side and score at 3.5. So I've made my score lines, and so now let's go ahead and do some folding of this. This is going to form that outside, again, I'm calling it like a checkbook cover. I have made these before where I did not have a spine. I just folded the paper in half, and it was okay, but I think I like having the spine better. This 1/4 of an inch spine is really small. So just kind of be careful as you're doing the folding to get it on there. but I think I like the fold. The other reason I like to do this is because I'm going to take mine and set them up to display, and I'll show you that at the end when we have both of these made. Can't wait to have this. So this is our first step with our cardstock and our spine being set. Now I like to go in and make the horizontal waterfall that we're going to make. And I have made these before, but first we're just going to start off. I'm going to use my matching red with a piece of paper cardstock that's 5.5 by 3 inches. And this is like going to be our base of the waterfall. We're going to build on top of this. And I've also taken 5 pieces in this same red that are 3.5 by 3 inches, and we're going to score on this 3.5 length at 1/2 inch. So your page is going to look something like this, if you can tell. Because basically when I fold this on that 1/2 inch score line, I have a 3 by 3 square, and that's what we're going to end up lining up. Whoops, wrong page. Here is the base. We're going to end up lining that up here on our page, and I know it's hard to see the red on red, but hopefully you will get to that okay. So you've got your 5 pieces of this 3.5 by 3 inch paper that we have scored. That one needs a little bit better scoring on my part. I'm going to go ahead and make these score lines on these 5 pieces of red. And I don't know if I can save this. Let me run and do another score on this one. All right, I got that. I sensed I was going to have an issue with this one because it had doubled up with another one, and I scored them 2 at one time, but this one did not get the scoring that it needed at the moment. But we're good to go because that piece down there is really going to be covered up for the most part. Okay, so we have our 5 pieces here, and the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to take these along this folded 1/2 inch line, and I'm going to take my 2-sided tear tape and I'm going to apply that along the edge here. Now I'm going to put, because this is 1/4 inch tape on this 1/2 inch, and I could have used a 1/2 inch tear tape, but I'm kind of going to use, you're going to see a combination at times of using glue and my tear tape with this project, and you probably don't have to do that, but it's just kind of a habit that I've gotten into doing, and now it's kind of a comfort level for me as I place my pieces down. I like to have the tape that will allow the piece to stick until the glue fully sets. But then the glue alone sometimes has some mobility that I don't always need. So I have that set, and let me get one of the pieces undone and we'll get this on our base. So I've also grabbed my Tombow glue, and I need a glue mat because I'm going to be gluing these down on this. I like to work this waterfall first here because we're going to set it aside after we've got it set with some blocks on it and give it a little time to dry. Here's where I'm going to put a little bit of glue on. Now this is our fold down. We're folding down, and we're going to put this first piece right up here. I want the folded edge to line up with the edge of this sheet of paper, and everything should be even edge to edge because it's 3 inches for both of these. Okay, I'm going to take my bone folder, do a little bit of burnishing, open this up, and we can see how this has lined up. Okay, so that is our first piece, and I'm really going to want to let it dry as I get these started. So I'm going to continue along now with the second piece. When I take this strip off, we'll put our glue down. You don't need an awful lot. I like to kind of fold it down to get my fold ready, and I'm going to line up this edge with the previous edge. And just make sure we're even on both sides. And when that looks good, we'll just burnish that down. Fold that down good. If you have any glue that seeps out, just be careful. We're going to be placing another piece down here, so it's okay on here, but we don't want any of our pieces to glue together. And I think most of them will be okay. We're going to end up covering all this up too with some paper and such. So now for piece number 3, I'm just going to repeat that. So there we have our waterfall. Everything is lined up, and I'm just going to set this over here and put a couple of blocks on top, and it can be drying while we're getting our next set of paper ready. We're going to cover each of the pieces of the waterfall now, each of the pages. And so I have started out with 5 pieces of decorative paper that are 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. You know, we're just taking 1/8 of an inch off of the edge for that 3 by 3 square on the front. Now, one thing to consider, since we are doing a horizontal waterfall, we want to watch for any direction of our paper, and you're going to want it, if it has a direction to it, we're looking at so that we can read it. At least that's the way I like to be able to open this up and read it here from this direction right here. So that's why I've placed any directional paper facing up or up and down right there. Now, so you've got 5 of those. I've also considered red to green, red to green, red to green. You just do it in any order that you want. And then what I like to do is, if this is the order that I'm going to use, on the back, I have lightly put my numbers so that I can see if things get mixed up. As you can tell, I have already placed some tape, 2-sided tape on that, and we will get to it. But in addition to these 5 pieces of decorative paper, you're also going to need one that is 2 7/8. So 2 7/8 by 2 1/4. This is going to go on our back page, and direction's going to matter here. And it's also going to, you're going to want to make a consideration with the pocket that you're making right here. So the reason this piece is shorter is because I'm really just saving paper. I could have gone all the way down to 2 7/8, but I knew this pocket was going to cover it up. So I'm just saving it a little bit and just going a little bit further down from this pocket here. And I'm also going to be choosing a piece of decorative paper that's going to match my pocket, and I'll go ahead and give you a quick preview of that. I've chosen the one with the green holly. So I thought those went well together, and we'll get to that in just a few moments. But just you can be thinking about that if you're choosing your papers. So I've got my 5 larger sheets here and the 1 single. We're going to take our waterfall and start placing those on those covers. I'm going to start with number 1. As you can see, I've put my 2-sided tear tape on all 4 edges. If you want to use glue, that's fine. I just like to use the tear tape for this project. Also, when you're getting ready to choose your papers, think about, I think all these papers are lovely. Most any Christmas paper to me is going to be great, but you're going to have this one that is going to be your prime show-off piece, right? Because you see the entire piece when the book is closed, when the waterfall piece is closed. The other pieces are going to peek out of your edges though. So I've chosen the ones with the words Merry Christmas. And so I like to open this first one up at least so that I can see the edges. And I'm just going to place this in the middle and try to get those edges. And we just place that down. One thing I like about the tape, it's down, it's done. But I do like a little bit of extra glue on this waterfall piece just because it's going to have a lot of flipping and motion with it. So I'm just going to go through here, open each one, and I will place the next piece down. And I've got those full-size pages done. And look at that. Is that not gorgeous? I love red and green. Christmas. That is so cute. A waterfall to me is a great way to use your papers and display them. Now for this sixth piece, the smaller piece, we're going to do the exact same thing, except we are placing it closer to the left-hand side because our pocket will be on the right-hand side. So I've got this set up. I'm going to the left-hand side of where I've got that seam from the previous. And I'm just going to kind of give it maybe just a little bit of a edge there. And you can't really see it because our pocket's going to come into play there. Now let's work on the pocket. So I have a solid piece of cardstock in the red that is 1.5 inches tall by 3.5 wide. And we're going to do some scoring. As you can see, maybe hopefully the score lines here. I'm using a 1/4 inch score lines on each end and along the bottom. Just make those scores. Now, I also like to trim off our corners to make our folding just a little bit easier. And so I do that with this angled cut. I go to the corner, angle back, and corner cut off. Let's do it on this other side. Angle to the corner and cut off. And that's just going to help things. I used this smaller 1/4 inch score. I could have gone with a 1/2 inch, but I thought the pocket was so small already. I was afraid with a 1/2 inch it would just, I don't know, kind of jumble it up a little bit. One thing we can do, I haven't noticed it to be an issue. You can also take at the top of the pocket and we can do just a little bit of an angle cut to that score line. And that's just going to be so that when we fold it there at the top of the pocket that it's not in the way as well. I've gotten glue on my scissors from cutting the tape and I need to clean those off. So we could go ahead and let's fold the pocket on these score lines. Like I said, they are small, and if you want to make it a 1/2 inch, just add a 1/4 inch to each of these and then adjust your scoring. But here's our little pocket, and we're also going to be placing I already showed you this cute little piece of holly paper that is 2 7/8 by 1 1/8. It's going to fit right there. And if we want to go ahead, we can put that on. And I've just applied some sticky tape. I'm using only my 1/4" tape only because that's what I had quickly available, and I could have probably used a 1/2 inch and not had to have used so many strips. But I'm just going to line this up in the middle of our pocket area. We've got a little bit of a border. Line that up on there. Looks beautiful, the red, the different shades of green. And to glue to adhere the pocket to our waterfall, I am using 1/8 of an inch tape. I did not have any 1/8 inch tear tape, but this is red line tape, or you may have heard it called baloney tape. It is a strong permanent tape. And so once you put this down, it's pretty much down. I'm gonna use it here along the edge on my fold ends for the pocket. Just line this up here. I used to have scissors that I only used when I was doing adhesive. And if you can imagine, they were pretty sticky, but I've gotten in the habit of using my really good scissors that I love. And see, just like right there, I just got a lot of adhesive on it. I'm gonna have to get some alcohol and wipe those down. Okay, so really press that down, get that tape down. And I think I also used a little bit of glue because, again, like the full waterfall, this is a pocket. It's gonna be, people are gonna put things in and out of it. And so you really want it to have a strong adherence. In addition to this red line tape, I'm gonna use that glue. Just a little bit. And since we're doing that, we will also use the blocks. So just putting a little bit along here, because also the 1/8 inch, it's not getting that full side. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my waterfall. Let's open it up all the way. We're gonna do it right here. Get all our pieces ready. Some of my fingers are gonna get glue on them, and that's okay because I like to do the fold in here. And just line this pocket up on the edge. I'm going to use other pieces of my hand that don't have glue on them. I'm going to go ahead and put this block down while I wipe my hands off and get the glue off. I don't want to have any glue if I can help it on this front part. Okay, so now we're just going to really burnish this down. And I want you to take a look. Is that not gorgeous? I love that. The greens, and then that kind of, it's like it's something unique, right? What's back there? Oh, it's a little pocket. Okay, so I'm gonna place the blocks on this. We're complete with the waterfall for just a few moments. We're gonna hold that aside, and I actually may even put the entire piece down. That's gonna help with the fold and everything. So we're gonna just set this aside and let it dry. I've let these dry for a bit, and I wanted to tell you about something that I'm doing a little bit different than I did with our sample. With the sample, we just had this open here, places that you could put actually your pictures on either side, or you can, I mentioned you could add white cardstock, and I think that's what I'm gonna do here. So I've taken 5 sheets of 2 7/8 by 2 7/8 paper, and we are going to place these white pieces of cardstock on the inside here. And so it kind of leaves it open for you to do that, whether it be to make your journaling page, or if you want to add the pictures on both sides or just on the white side and leave the decorative paper fully visible. It is your choice. So let's go ahead and place this first piece down, just a square. And it should fit right here with a little bit of border all around it. And there we go. So I'm gonna add that to each of these. And I've got everything finished now for the waterfall with the little white pieces in there that are perfect for journaling or whatever you would like. So I'm still going to set this over here with the blocks on top. That's going to help also with the folds of the waterfall to get those set. Now we're going to work on our cover. So pull that piece back out. And to start with, you're going to need some cardstock that is 3 3/8 by 5 7/8. 2 of those pieces. And that's what's going to go on our cover underneath the decorative paper that we've got. That is 2 pieces that are 3 1/4 by 5 3/4. And I'm going to use that. I chose this polka dot. I love polka dot. So we're going to go with that. First of all, and then I have put just my backing of my tape on here. Let me get this off. Now there is just a little bit of a border. I'm going to take this piece that I still have the tape cover on it. So you can see I'm going to open this up. We have our 1/4 inch spine. And when we place this, we've just got a little bit of a border around each of the pieces. So now I've got my one with the tape. And I'm going to set this in place. There we go. Place that paper on there. And if you want to go ahead, we'll take our decorative paper. And now I've removed all the backing for this. I've got my sticky. And just as with this other, we're going to have the same type of a border. And when you're ready to place that down, there we go. I think this has that traditional Christmas look with the red and the green. And that is going to be so cute with some kind of decoration. Let's do the same thing on the back. I'm going to work on that and I will put those pieces on as well. And there we go. We have both the front and the back. I've chosen to just leave the spine with the red. And then we've got that. Everything looks good on the outside. And now let's move to the inside. So now I've gone with another piece of green cardstock that is 3 3/8 by 5 7/8. That is going to fit right across here. And we're going to put our waterfall on top. I also have a note to remember the ribbon. And I'm going to put that right there because that's the part that I left off last time on my sample. And I'm just going to remove this and we'll place this piece down. I recently got this 1/8 inch ribbon set at Hobby Lobby. It was $4.99, so $5. It's 50% off, so $2.50. And I thought these would be great sizes for different things for the holidays. I love this green. You can always use white and of course the red. And I think I'm going to go with the red. So what we need to do to get our length that we're going to need, we need to take the waterfall and it's going, let me place this ribbon right here. It's going to go in the middle here, in the center. And we want to have enough ribbon that we can tie a nice bow. So I like this right here. So let's see, that's the middle. I'm going to double this and then I'll give you the dimension that I've gotten. So this is 28 inches. 28 inches. So what we need to do, this is going to need to be adhered really well on the back of this. So I am going to use my tape, but then also some glue. Here's the waterfall, and I have placed this two-sided tape along the back on each of the edges and then right down the middle because that's where our ribbon is going to go. And we're going across the top piece. I am probably also going to put a little bit of glue on here as well. But let's get our ribbon. Let's see, to do the ribbon, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. And let me find my middle piece. It's kind of just an estimate. And we're going to lay that across that. Just kind of checking. Looks pretty good. Okay, that will go across that. Now I can pull up the other pieces and get this ready to place down on our album cover insides. Kind of have to work around that piece right there. Okay, so I have all of the adhesive off there, or the covers. Let me add a little bit of glue. We don't want our waterfall piece to come off in any way. Okay, making sure that everything, that our ribbon is folded over on the edges even, it's not twisted up or anything. And I'm gonna take this and I want to set it about in the middle as best I can. And then we'll just press down. And this is another time we're gonna make use of our blocks. Now this is our piece for the bottom. Again, like the solid piece on top, it is 3 3/8 by 5 7/8, and I'm just gonna place that on the bottom here. Sometimes hard to see, but don't forget we have this 1/4 inch spine right above here, so we're really gonna place it with respect to the bottom here. But we do have a little bit of a border all around. Place that down. And then we're going to take a piece of decorative paper that is 2 1/2 by 5 3/4. Now, you may say, that doesn't reach the bottom, but it's because we've got a pocket down here, right? Just like we did up here with this pocket, I'm saving a little bit of paper. I don't have to go all the way down because my pocket is going to cover this up. So I'm going to place this decorative paper right here. We'll set this up to come from the top with respect to the border. Nice. Again, I love polka dots. I started to use this paper on the front, but decided to go with the red and white. Now let's work on our pocket. So let's take a piece of cardstock. This is 6 1/2 by 2 inches, and we're going to score out a 1/4 inch around each of the edges. So just like we did at the top, I need to put a little bit of a angled cut at my corners as we cut out that overlap. And then I'm also going to angle at the top of the pocket just a little bit, just ever so slightly. Okay, we can go ahead and add our decorative paper that's going to go on the pocket. This is a piece that is 5 7/8 by 1 5/8, and it is going to fit right here. So inside these score lines, we're going to add the paper here. And then if you want to go in and do some of the folding for our pocket, we've still got to add that adhesive. And again, I'm going to use that 1/8 inch red line tape. Okay, but that's how our pocket's going to look. Grab this 1/8 inch red line tape. And we are so close to our album being finished. Everything else after this is pretty much what you want to put in. I'm going to show you a couple of things that I like to add in to start with, but you could make these all your own and do exactly whatever you want to do. Get that red line tape on there really well. And let's take that off, the peel, the cover. It looks like a peel to me, I guess, of bologna, the edging. And take our glue just to give us a strong hold on a pocket. We don't want our pockets coming off or anything slipping through them. So let me kind of fold this up and get it ready. Move this around. And I'm just going to line up the bottom. There we go. I don't really want it to hang out over the edge anywhere on the back side. Like that, got it. Okay, and I'm gonna place some more pieces on top so it can set our project over to the side and give it time to dry and everything, and work on a couple of these little pieces we can add inside. So first, I always like to add a little journaling card. I'm going to start with a piece of cardstock that is 2.5 by 4.5 inches, and then I need a piece of designer series paper and white paper that's 2 3/8 by 4 3/8, and that's going to go on either side of our cardstock. We can use this to journal on or add whatever we'd like. And we'll add this on just with a little bit of a border. Thought that was cute paper. All this paper in this pad, it's wonderful. And now just add the white side on the back. You can do that or not. Let me roll that over. I like to leave it for journaling opportunities. You can write on the back of the red paper. You know, a cute, colorful pen would be great. But I like to have the option of just writing on the white. And there we go. So I'm going to make the little mini card kind of thing. It is going to start with a piece of cardstock that is 4 by 2.5, and I'm going to score it at 2 so that we can fold this in half like a little card. And then I'm going to need a decorative piece that is 1 7/8 by 2 3/8. That's going to fit right there on the front. Same size for a piece of white paper. Let's put those on. And I finished this little card here. So we have that. That is so cute. And then let me show you the next little items I will add. So for these next two pieces, I have some punches that I thought would work really well. I've taken some scrap paper as well as 2 more pieces of our designer paper that we haven't used. I'm going to start off with, let's do the circle. So I've got a larger piece here. I've got a 1 3/4 inch circle punch that I'm just going to punch a circle from with that. Then I've got a 1 1/2 inch circle punch. I'm going to punch the white out. And let's use the ball ornaments for this one. Circle punch of 1 1/2. Got this over here. And I'm just going to adhere these to the red circle. I'm just going to use my tape runner for this. These can be used as little tags. They could be great as little journaling cards. Add a little bit of something with the circular look here, little something different. Add this white edging here. And we're going to use that and place that in our pocket. Then I have these tag punches. I'm going to use the bigger punch, and let's punch out a red cardstock tag. If you don't have these kind of punches, you can always freehand your circles or use something else. Use a container lid or something like that to draw out your circles. For tags, it's just do a rectangle and then cut the edges off. That always works. I'm going to take this smaller one, and with the little snowman, we're going to attach that, and I need my white. Where did I put that? Right here. Because like I had mentioned before, I like to put the white writing spot on one side. So this is just a tiny little tag. I've had these punches for years. We need to think about what we're going to put on the front. I have this piece of paper that is right on the very front of the book. I am going to trim out one of these little Santas and use him on the front. I like to do that when I have pieces, whether there be cut aparts. There are no cut aparts in this book, so we're going to have to kind of add our own little things to it. And so I'm just going to do a little bit of fussy cutting, and we may do some pop dots with him, or we'll just see how it plays out with some of the other little things that I have pulled out as potentials for our front cover. Whoops. And there he is. I have taken the block off of our piece, and now let's work on the front before we add all these little goodies to the inside. I have found a couple of little things. I love picking up these little pieces of embellishments. These are tags. I got these, I think, after Christmas sale last year at Michael's, and I think I'm going to go with the green, even though I love the candy cane, but the red on red. Let's look at maybe using the green, one of the green tags somewhere on here. And I have the little Santa that I cut out, and I was thinking about these. I got these little bows this year at Hobby Lobby, and so I'm thinking of maybe adding a bow, a red bow, maybe to the top of the tree. So, and then having Santa off here to the side. I've got something going on right now that I like to do things on this right-hand side. I don't know, but I think that's what I'm going to go with. And let's add a little bit of my tape runner, but I think I'm also going to add some glue to this as well. This is a little bit thicker piece, and so I'm going to put this on. It's got a spot that there could be a hole because, like I said, it originally is a tag. And I'm going to leave that there for just a few moments, as I think it would be great as we pop dot this. So I'm going to get a piece of foam here, and we'll put 2 of these on our little Santa that we cut out. Let me leave this tree to hold for just a few moments. This tree has had some time to dry. I love the glitter. I could have also pop dotted that, I think, but we did that. Now let's add our little Santa right here, the corner of the tree. I like that. And I'm still not 100% sure where I want to put this. I think that these are little stickers that have adhesive already on the back. I think I'm going to go with the top of the tree. And I love this little bow. I think it's so cute. And this is our finished cover, at least for now. I may add some Merry Christmas or something over here. One thing I am noticing, my ribbon is poking out just a little bit. Let me trim that just a little. Okay, so now let's take a look and see what we've got. When we open up our cover, I have gone ahead and tied the waterfall here. Now, one thing that I have noticed when I'm opening this up, it kind of props it up like that. But that's okay. That's okay for me. But if it bothers you, you need to be aware of it. Let's untie this. And if we add any of our journaling or pictures here in our waterfall, a little bit of glue, candy canes. Now for our pockets, this is where I would put in the little tag and the circle there. Just adds a little bit of something for someone to come in and take a look at. Then as I want to get ready to tie this back up, I'm just going to gently pull and make this a bow. I love the big bows here, and let the ribbon kind of still stay within the cover itself there. Okay, then we have our bottom pocket here that we can add in this journaling card, and we have our little card here. Plenty of room for other little knickknacks and such. Here we can close this up. Get my ribbon to kind of My bow was kind of out of whack there. That's a little bit better. And then as we close it up, we have our cute little cover and everything, along with the sample as well. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video today. I'm going to show you here at the end some little clips of ways that I would use it to display these. And I hope that you enjoy, and be sure and join me for more cute now Christmas projects.